Hey there, gorgeous people. Happy New Year and welcome to the Holy Shed for the very first time in 2023. And since it's since it's a day when many of us perhaps are feeling a little jaded, maybe I should speak for myself, after New Year celebrations, it's another holiday holy shedlet, but none the worse for that, I can tell you. Now, throughout Advent, we thought a lot about hope, didn't we, in various ways? And I can't do better at the start of a new year than to stay with that thought because the world is, it's pretty damn challenging right now, isn't it, as we enter another year? And hey, maybe your own life and circumstances are challenging too. A book that I have been really helped by, and I've just read really, and I wish that I'd read it at the start of Advent because it chimes so much with all the stuff that I was yakking on about, is this book called Hope in the Dark Untold Histories, Wild Possibilities by someone called Rebecca Solnit. Now, it was brought to my attention, just a little bit of name dropping here, it was brought to my attention by Kate Blanchett. Uh, no, not in person. I am well connected, but no, not this time. I actually heard her talking on Desert Island Disc about this because this was the book that she said she would like to take with her to her desert island. Not very big, actually, but she said that she would find plenty in it to keep on reading. So, hey, that's pretty good, isn't it? Rebecca Solnit wrote the book against a backdrop of the Bush administration in the early 2000s and the invasion of Iraq. But its message, I think, fits equally well with many of the things in our own world today. And in her updated foreword, which I have here with me, she writes this. She says, "Your opponents would love you to believe that it's hopeless, that you have no power, that there's no reason to act, that you can't win. Hope," she says, "is a gift, however, that you don't have to surrender. It's a power that you don't have to throw away." Well, I think that's, pretty positive stuff for any of us really faced with dark or difficult times, whether that's on a personal level or, in the wider community or whatever. But here's the interesting thing. Rebecca is an activist, and she's writing primarily in this book for activists and would be activists, people who want to repair the world as we've been thinking about it through Advent, people who choose to combat things like climate change, racism, and other forms of prejudice, people who want to stand against poverty and injustice and all the other things that I'm sure concern many of us so much. But she makes this observation that there is a kind of activist mentality that actually doesn't appear to want the change that they're campaigning for. It's as if, she says, some activists find their identity in the protest. You know, people who have a strange psychological compulsion to propagate or sustain despair instead of hope, even when there is ground for hope. And clearly, Rebecca does believe that there's ground for hope on many fronts. And the important thing, which her book does, I think, is to spread that hope, to spread a radical optimism, to dispel despair. And one of the things that I take from the book is that hope demands something of us. Hope always demands so. It's not a passive thing. Hope demands something of us, quite a lot actually. Whereas despair demands nothing. You just have to sit there and be despairing. Which takes me back to a quote from Nick Cave, which I mentioned during Advent, where he speaks of what he calls the insubordinate nature of hope, which he says is forever at war with banal pessimism, cynicism, and nihilism. I love that, don't you? The idea of being at war with pessimism, cynicism, and nihilism. That's how I personally wish to, travel forward into 2023, combating pessimism, cynicism, and negativity, despair. Of course, as I've already said, hope carries no guarantees, but without hope, we can pretty much guarantee that nothing will change. It's a basic requirement, really. And on a bigger scale, hope will help us deal with whatever the future does bring, even if it's not what we would have wished for or chosen. And there's a lovely note raised by Rebecca Solnit. She says that hope, which embraces the unknown and the unknowable, is an alternative to the certainty of both optimists and pessimists. Optimists, she says, think it will all be fine without their involvement. Pessimists take the opposite position, but both actually excuse themselves from acting, from doing anything to bring about change. Hope, on the other hand, is the belief that what we do actually matters, even if that doesn't immediately appear to be the case, even though how and when it may matter, who and what it may impact, are not things that we can actually know beforehand. But that is the affirmation that hope actually matters. We could say that hope is actually a direction of the heart, which reminds me of a lovely quote from Rainer Maria Rilke, the 19th century Czech poet and writer, who said this. He said, religion is something infinitely simple, ingenious. It's not knowledge, it's not content of feeling, it is not duty and not renunciation, it's not restriction. In the infinite extent of the universe, it is a direction of the heart. A direction of the heart. That, I believe, is what faith and hope amount to, a direction of the heart. Again, there are no guaranteed outcomes, but faith, hope, and love, the triumvirate at the pinnacle of religion for the Apostle Paul, are not interested in trying to guarantee stuff. That's not what they're about. They're directed at a way of being, of living in the here and now, come what may. People often ask me if I believe in the afterlife, to which I say that how can I possibly know the answer to that? I'm still here, I haven't died yet. But I always say that if I had to bet my life on something, the answer would be yes. But right now, it's beyond the realm of my concern, because whether or not there is an afterlife, and here's the really important point, I wouldn't wish or choose to live any other way than the way I am now living, immersed as best as I can be in faith, hope, and love, especially as I see it manifested or expressed in Jesus Christ, in the Gospels. See, I think until we get away from faith being all about what happens when we die, we will not learn properly how to live here and now before we die, which, as I say, I think is the thing that matters. And if we look at what Jesus taught in the Gospels, I think you'll find that is exactly where the focus of his teaching and his ministry was. If religion or faith is simply about a ticket to heaven when we die, then I think we have strayed a long, long way from who and what Jesus is about. I think actually that we have subverted the radical nature of faith and what it can be and what it can do here in this world. So as we launch ourselves into 2023, I believe our spiritual quest, our duty really, is about staying awake, staying open to new possibilities, both in our personal lives and in the wider world. The quest, I think, is to stay open to fresh horizons as they appear, because this is what faith and hope and love is all about. It's about staying alive on the inside. I could now burst into song, but I maybe had just a little bit too much celebration last night to suddenly turn into one of the Bee Gees. Now, all this stuff is what we'll be looking at in the retreat at Amadown Retreat Centre, which I'm leading on the last weekend of January 27th to 29th. It's all about hope, but especially focusing on the question, what kind of progressive faith do we need will be up to the task as we face the future, hopefully, instead of despairingly. So if you can join me for that, I'm pretty sure that you won't regret it. And I think it'll be an investment in yourself at the start of the year. So if you can join me, I would love to have you. And the way to find out more about it is go to the Amadown Retreat Centre website and you can find out all about it there. Okay, so I am now going to finish with a prayer. Oh Lord, this is the first day of the rest of my life, so I'm told. But it's so damn difficult to forget all the ones that went before, which still cast a shadow, not so much through things I've done and regret, but through opportunities missed or wasted, which I cannot now recover. Standing here today at another threshold of possibility, I pray, help me to know that everything I missed or wasted is still with me, because even in the wishing, it is present and part of who I am, reassuring me, if I listen, that nothing is ever truly lost. Because the adventure isn't in what I have or haven't done, it's in what I carry with me and what I can still do now, today. Everyone has regrets. That's being human. And I'll never be able to utilize all of my opportunities. Life is too rich, too abundant. Not every acorn becomes a tree. But if I can water and nurture one seed today, then who knows? Who knows? Oh Lord, this really is the first day of the rest of my life. Amen. Okay, well, it is New Year's Day. I probably had a little bit too much last night, but I think I can just fit in a tiny toast. And if you have something, whether it's alcoholic or dry January, which I'm probably going to enter into, apart from obviously here in the shed, then join me now in a toast. And it's just very simple, really. It's a toast to, a happy new year to you, a happy new year for all Shedsters, and also for people who are precious to us, who may feel apprehension at the start of a new year. It's to them. It's a toast for a world facing huge challenges in 2023. So, your health, dear friends, to life, l'chaim. Okay, well, if you like what I'm doing here in the shed, took my breath away, you can support us by buying us a coffee, maybe more than a whiskey during January. And you can do that by going to the coffee site, follow the link which is here on your screen. It's always at the top of posts on the Holy Shed Facebook page too. And yeah, so many thanks to all of you who support us in this way and in other ways too. It is much appreciated. So there it is. Just to mention that this week on Wednesday at 12:30 p.m, lunchtime on Wednesday, I'll be leading a Zoomed soul space from the St. Ethelburgers Centre. And so if you go to the St. Ethelburgers site, you'll find out how you can sort of hitch up to that. I'll probably put a post up on Facebook as well. And we're heading toward Epiphany, so I think that I think we'll probably be focusing somewhat on the subject of Epiphany. So that's all for now, guys. I hope that you've found something a little bit useful out of it all, and I wish you all the best as you put your best foot forward going into 2023. And I'm going to finish with a video of a prayer which if you've been around for a while, you've heard before. It's by our friends in the Empty Hands Music Setup, and it was a prayer that they wrote and put together with a video for COVID, when we were all engulfed in COVID. Well, there's still quite a lot of that going on, isn't there? Especially in China, and who knows where else in the world. But I think it's equally applicable for all the sort of issues that are going in our world today, whether it's, COVID, war, conflict, the energy crisis, financial hardship, the very future of our planet in the climate change crisis. So it's a lovely prayer, and I give it to you, and I'm sure that you will find your heart moved by it. And do you know what? I'll see you very soon. Happy New Year.
Well, I'm sitting here in silence, sending people smiles and realizing when we send out love, it keeps on rising. So I choose to close my eyelids to send positive vibes into every living being, from the ocean to the skies. And as I look at all the crisis, I realize that I just can send my love and prayers that will make it through this virus. To me, this is all priceless, to transform all the violence through sacrifice and trying, sitting on this cushion silent. May all beings be happy, peaceful and non-violent. May not one being suffer in their minds, even the tyrants. May all souls find alignment with their hands, their hearts and minds. And may all of us keep walking and persevere in these times with love.
Ooh, I'm sending prayers out to you. I'm sending prayers out to you. I'm sending prayers out to you. 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 Oh, sending prayers out to you. Sending prayers out to you. Sending prayers out to you.